Welcome back. In this episode, we're going to be talking about what it takes to be a fashion photographer. Being a fashion photographer is not just for anyone. If you're not willing to do the work, and if you go online, you'll see thousands and thousands of fashion photographers. And obviously, being a photographer that stands out, it's about building your brand, it's about professionalism, it's about being talented, being skilled, and it also comes with years of experience. So now, let's dive in. What does it take to be a fashion photographer? Before starting a business as a fashion photographer, obviously you're going to need to invest in equipment. My very first camera that I got was a point and shoot. So if you're starting out as a young person as a photographer, you can start with what you have, but then obviously know that you're going to invest. You're going to have to spend money eventually, and these gears are not cheap. You can go from $2,000, from 500 to to 30,000 to 10,000 to whatever you're willing to spend. But the key thing here is not so much about how expensive the equipment is. It's about how you use it. Spend time on your personal skill set. Make sure you invest time in learning the technical part of it, and then also learning the different element part of it, so you can pick up any camera. Most cameras have the same structure anyway, so it doesn't really matter if you're a Canon or a Nikon or a Sony. It just matters you know how to use a camera, and you know what an f-stop is, how to adjust the ISO, all that kind of skill set. That's all that matters. But it's also important that you have multiple equipment. For example, you're probably going to need a light, you might need a fill light, flash, you might need a flashlight, backdrops. There's going to be different things you're going to need, but that will happen. You would know anyway, whether you have a studio or you don't have a studio, or you have an in-house studio, you're shooting on location, you're shooting at events. That will eventually happen as time goes on, and you realize what equipment you need. So I wouldn't go ahead and just buy all the equipment up front. You can start with what you have and then work your way upwards. Also, to succeed as a fashion photographer, it's very important that you read as many magazines, read as many blogs, keep up with the trends, maybe even read past books, buy fashion photography books. Try to indulge yourself in as much possible with fashion photography. Now, the skill set is one thing, but the business part, it's totally different. We'll get to that later. You also need to make sure you know the key players, the industry players, the up and coming, the ones that are going to be well established 5 years from now, the ones that are already established, the ones that maybe they need your support in the early days of the career, and you can grow together as a team. So just imagine if Coco Chanel was just starting out today, let's just say at 18, as a young designer, and fast forward 10 years from now, 20 years from now, you were the photographer that worked with her, and you built the personal relationship with her, and you grew with the brand. You can also do this approach with multiple designers. You can have 3 or 5, 6, 7, 20 designers or up and coming models that work on a brand. That way you're ensure as well, if they grow, you'll grow as well. So it becomes a symbiotic thing. Also, I would argue to be a really great photographer, you need to have an in-depth knowledge, not just surface level. Although that's debatable. That's debatable because if you have the talent, you can be extremely talented, but you also need to have the in-depth knowledge, and also need to be able to take action, which is the most important thing. To get better as well, as a fashion photographer, you need to practice as much as possible. For reference, I'm going to give you an example. When I was learning to do photography and I wanted to hire a photographer, and the photographer was going back and forth. So you know what? I pick up the camera, got a model, look for the mood board or the style of photography I wanted, and I shot my goal was to take as many pictures for the entire year. So let's say I was doing 2 photo shoots a week. Although that's a lot, if you just want to get the practice under your belt, obviously when you're planning a big shoot, like a big photo shoot where you have to organize models and stylists, like the way that we used to organize models, stylists, the creative team, get them together, pick a location, pick a time and a date to where to be. That in itself is a lot of planning ahead for a big shoot. But if you just want to get the belt, you want to get the reps and get up to speed, I would recommend practice to get better. Don't just shoot for the sake of shooting. Also, when you're taking pictures, don't just take pictures for the sake of just trying to get a picture. Have an image of what you're trying to go for. Maybe you're trying to recreate a particular pose, or you have an image, the way it's going to come out. So far, if you find any of the content any of the stuff that we talked about in this video useful, I created an ebook guide, what it takes to be a fashion photographer, not just for photographers, but for anyone that works in the creative industry. Leave a comment below. Learn with Flawless. I will reply with a comment, a direct link to the ebook, and you can also grab it. There'll be a link in the description. Now, to circle back. Also, try to look for beginners, models that are trying to break into the industry, designers, stylists that are trying to break into the industry, the up and coming. Try and work with them and work as a crew. But also bear in mind that if your goal is to be a full-time photographer, it's gonna have to be 20-80, meaning you're gonna have to spend 20% of your time on the creative business, on the creative side, which is photo shoot, and 80% on the business side. Because, and this is a mistake a lot of creative make, when you might have beautiful piece of work, a beautiful artwork, beautiful pictures, beautiful portfolio, but if your goal is to make this a full-time job, you will have to shift from a hobbyist to a professional. So what is the difference between a hobby and a professional? Now, a hobbyist is someone that do things because they want to. A professional shows up regardless. Okay, so what does that look like? That could mean shooting 10 of 20, 30 content a day. Let's say you're a content creator. That could mean shooting 30 content a day. To even be successful, that could mean if you're a photographer and you're trying to shoot with a new client, a boutique, that could mean sending out 10,000, maybe not 10,000, let's just be realistic, but let's say that could mean sending out 3,000 or 4,000 emails a month, like for you to get 20 or 30 bookings for the next 2-3 months. So you get the gist. So if this is going to be your full-time gig, you're going to have to shift. Once you've built up enough experience, or if you can't do that, you can allocate the other side of it to an agent or to a part of your team member. Also, in the fashion world, a lot of deals are made through to social events, to networking events. So if this is your goal, try and attend as many events. It might not be fashion related, but and as you get your work out there, you post more pictures on social media, that kind of stuff. That would also help as well to bring awareness in your name. It's also very important that you have a fantastic portfolio, which is non-negotiable. Try and have a great portfolio, a portfolio that sticks out from the pack. That alone will help you stand out and try to get those and try to get yourself in front of the right clients. You can also see what other people are doing, look for the top 10 photographers in your niche, see what they're doing, write down their strengths. So I could say this particular photographer has the perfect lighting, this photographer has a great location, this other photographer is great at social media. So try and take different elements from all the photographers and try and run with that. So if you want to succeed as a fashion photographer, just know it's important to keep the network online and offline as well. This will help you get more jobs and potentially reach a lot more people.